You're listening to Inside Lebo, a podcast giving you an inside look at Mount Lebanon, Pennsylvania. Hosted by Assistant Municipal Manager and Municipal Planner Ian McMeans and Assistant Public Information Officer and Online Editor Stephanie Hacke.
Welcome to the inaugural edition of the Inside Lebo podcast. I'm Assistant Municipal Manager and Municipal Planner Ian McMeans.
And I'm Assistant Public Information Officer and Online Editor Stephanie Hacke, and I'll be co-hosting with Ian.
Yes, thank you, Stephanie, for helping us put this together. We're very happy that everyone has tuned in to our first episode. So you might be wondering, what's this new podcast all about that the municipality is putting out?
Well, it's another way for Lebo residents to learn all about the goings-on behind the scenes of Mount Lebanon's municipal government. It's going to be about 15-minute episodes that will drop twice a month on the first and third Fridays.
Which should be just about the right amount of time for folks to listen to on their morning commutes to or from downtown, just about the length of a T-ride. So hopefully we're able to make a few mornings a month or afternoons riding home a little more enjoyable for you on your commutes.
So you're probably wondering, why did the municipality want to launch a podcast? Well, this was actually the brainchild of Ian. So if you want to go ahead and explain to us where this idea came from.
Sure. So as we try and do more public outreach and public information to the residents of the community, we've started doing more multimedia type productions. The Public Information Office has put out some short videos, the How to Lebo videos. We've beefed up our Twitter and Facebook and Instagram accounts, and some of those folks when we threw out the idea of, hey, we're going to start a podcast, and they love the idea. So hopefully everyone enjoys listening to the show and finds it fun and informative, and we're going to have a lot of different topics moving forward. We're going to try and do different type topics each week, so it's not just the same thing, and we're really excited for where this can go over the next few years.
Absolutely. I think we've talked to a lot of our departments already, and they're excited. They're on board. We're going to talk to the fire department, the library, all the different departments in the municipality, and get an idea for what's going on inside their departments, as well as the fun behind the scenes of commission meetings and things along those lines. If you're interested in a topic, we will probably be talking about it at some point, and you'll be able to learn more and get an inside look at what's going on in our government and in our municipality.
Absolutely. That's definitely one of the goals that we have for the show, is to try and put information out there in a way that's easily digestible for people and can serve as a future reference. So let's say hypothetically we have a episode on snow removal, this winter, then next winter, we can always point people back to, hey, you can go listen to this podcast episode on how snow removal works in Mount Lebanon. So we know we always get a lot of questions on big topics like that. So we'll try and hit on some of those big topics, as well as, like Stephanie said, if there's interesting or big key discussions happening at the commission level, especially as we get into budget season here and some of the things they're considering as part of the next budget process, we'll be sure to talk about those, to have it out there for the public to be more informed about what's going on with their local government.
Absolutely. And this is a fun way to do that, right?
Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully you'll stay listening for sure. All right. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Inside Lebo. Welcome back to our inaugural episode of Inside Lebo. So, Ian, tell us, what are some of the things you're working on in the planning department?
Our biggest project right now is updating the municipal comprehensive plan. So the comprehensive plan is kind of the 10-year plan for the municipality. Our last one was approved in 2013, and you're supposed to update them about every decade. So we are doing a broad public engagement effort right now. We just launched a brand new website called ascendlebo.com, so people can go there and check out a brand new community survey that we have, as well as an interactive map, which is a really cool feature where people can drop pins on a map and put in any ideas they might have for any variety of topics, whether it be like places where they would like to see more sidewalks or better walking routes, or just ideas for redeveloping certain properties, or things that they love about the community that they want to see stay and preserved over time. And this really is a great opportunity for everyone to give their input on the future of the municipality, because this plan will shape the overall goals and objectives of the next decade for Mount Lebanon as a community.
I think we're both municipal government nerds and we know exactly what a comprehensive plan is, but for our listeners out there, why is a comprehensive plan needed? Why does municipality need to have one every 10 years?
So the general 10-year guideline comes from the Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code, but it also just makes sense that you have a new census every 10 years, so you have a new fresh crop of data on what your population is doing and how it's changed and where your population centers are and just the overall demographics of your community every decade. So here at Mount Lebanon, we've always updated our comp plan right after the new census numbers come out. Okay. And with those new census numbers, it's a good time to take a look at the overall goals and objectives of how we want to spend our money over the next decade, because Mount Lebanon has a very healthy capital improvement program, and the comprehensive plan really lays out those broad community goals, which then shape what projects get prioritized in our annual budgeting processes. If people go online and look at our capital improvement plan that we publish every year, the capital improvement plan specifically references in each project which goals of the comprehensive plan those projects will address. So it's really important for long-term planning and long-term spending that this plan really be reflective of the overall wants, needs, and goals of the community. And we really want input from everybody kind of across the socioeconomic spectrum, across the political spectrum. We really want people to give us their honest opinions about things. And if there's something you hate, go in there and tell us you don't like this. If there's something you love, go in there and tell us that you love it. Because if people tune us out and don't take the survey, then they won't have a voice in the overall goals of the next decade of the community, because the final plan is going to be built on the responses to these surveys and these public outreach events that we get. And we're going to be going around to different community events to try and talk with people, meet them in person, see people where they are, to talk to them about what they would like to see in the community over the next decade.
So this is really asking our residents, tell us what you want to see in the future for Mount Lebanon, where you want to see this community go, and then we create a roadmap to get there. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely a very aspirational type exercise where it's very forward thinking of where's the community now and where do we want the community to go over the next 10 years. So that was kind of the thinking behind the Ascend branding, was that our last comprehensive plan was called Elevate, and in that plan we were actually very successful. There were, I think, 58 overall goals and objectives that were listed in that plan, and we accomplished about 95% of those. So
wow, that's amazing. Yeah. Can you tell me what some of those are? What are some of the accomplishments?
So the last comprehensive plan had 5 overall broad categories to focus on, which were cooperation, vitality, connectivity, systems, and resources. So just to highlight some of the accomplishments that we did have, including coordinating transit-oriented development projects and policies. We took part in a regional transit-oriented development study that was through Connect at the University of Pittsburgh with 11 other municipalities. Promoting community spirit, participation, unity, and diversity. We just completed a year-long diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative, and we've expanded volunteer opportunities for our students through our junior commissioner, junior board member, and the former high school intern program that we had, and as well as optimizing efficiencies and collaborating with neighboring communities through various initiatives such as animal control and some other things we do from a regional standpoint to deliver services at the best cost possible to our taxpayers. On the vitality section, enhancing the community's built environment. One of the biggest things there, along with strengthening the vitality of our business districts, is our Vibrant Uptown project. Within the last decade, we also completed a streetscape project on Beverly Road, and we're working on wrapping up the project here on Washington Road so that both of our business districts will have had significant investment over the last decade. The Uptown streetscape will look dramatically different after the project is completed than it did previously, because the last project there was done about 25 years ago. So there was a lot of aging infrastructure that's being replaced with the current project, and it's really exciting for when it's completed.
So these are all things that the resident dreamt about in the last comprehensive plan, and now we're seeing them come to fruition. We're seeing them in real life on our streets every day in the way our government's working. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. Yep. And that definitely gets to, some of the other things, like some of the systems items in the last plan was participating with Alcosan's wet weather plan to improve the municipal storm sewer system, and which we do annually every year. And if you think back, the last comprehensive plan was done shortly after we instituted a stormwater fee, and now we've been able to use that money every year to upgrade our storm sewer system, so that we've been able to mitigate some of the storm issues that have happened throughout the community, that we've made significant investments in our infrastructure, so that then when these large storm events happen, they're not as adversely impacting our residents as they were a decade ago.
That's amazing. So real life results that we're seeing from these for sure. So now this comprehensive plan, what are we looking to get out of this? What are you hearing from residents? You've been out there surveying the residents so far, standing on the streets, talking to them at the car cruise. What are you hearing from these residents?
That's a great question. And there's a lot of really good energy and momentum and ideas that residents have for the community so far. And I think that it's really exciting just to get out there and talk to people and hear both, what are the things you like the most about the community and what would you like to see improved. One of the things that always comes up is walkability, that people love the walkability of Mount Lebanon. And there are certain segments of the municipality that don't have completed sidewalk infrastructure. And I think that's something we've heard a lot of, that people love being able to walk places,
right.
And they
That's
wish.
what makes Mount Lebanon special, right?
Exactly. That's why we're not Upper St. Clair.
Exactly.
Because you can walk places.
Absolutely.
So I think that's one big thing that we've heard, is that people want to be able to walk places. They would like to be able to bike places, which could be a challenge because we're Mount Lebanon, not Flat Lebanon. So
right, lots of hills.
biking can be a bit of a challenge. There are some intrepid people out there that do it, but just topographically, there's some challenges to it. But as we look to kind of expand that, network of connectivity throughout the community, there probably are some areas where we can see some more investment. We also just completed a Parks Master Plan and Recreation
Right.
Center feasibility study. So we've seen a lot of comments from people also about upgrading the assets that we have in our municipal parks. And that's something that's definitely on our radar that we've thought about with the Parks Plan and then now moving into the comprehensive plan. So that's another really exciting thing that's going to be coming down the pike that, like you said, is going to have real impactful results on people's daily lives.
I can't wait to see that. So what next? You've been out there surveying the residents. We have a survey going on right now on our website. What comes next?
Right. So really for the, I'll say, ending part of this year from kind of September through December, we're just going to be focused on kind of pushing people towards the ascendlebo.com website so that we can get more and more feedback, both through the mapping feature, through the community survey that we have out. We may launch additional surveys for follow-up information. So we had an initial survey that ran over the summer that really just had two questions. It was, what do you like most about the community, and what would you like to see change? And from that, we used the feedback on those to kind of build this second survey that we have that gets more in depth about, with some more detailed questions, that really what we're doing right now is testing ideas to say, okay, here's an idea based on what we heard in the initial survey. Do people like it or not? And then if people like it, then it'll kind of get moved forward into the sort of, I'll call it, consideration stage. And those considerations will get vetted and eventually potentially become recommendations in the final plan as they work through the focus group process and things like that.
So what's the time frame for all of this?
Right. So our goal is to have the final plan adopted by the end of 2023. So it is about an 18-month planning process. And one of the unique things that we're doing with this comprehensive plan, and to the credit of my predecessor, we did with the last comprehensive plan as well, is that we are going out to the public first before we have focus groups. So a lot of traditional comprehensive plans, the consultant will come in, they'll have some focus groups with some, stakeholders within the community,
right.
And then they'll start to put the recommendations of the plan together, and then they'll take it out to the public and say, do you agree or not with these recommendations that we're thinking about for the plan? We kind of flip that process the other way, that we're going out to the public first and saying, you, community members, people that live here, people who visit here, people who own businesses here, what do you want from your community over the next decade? And then we're going to take that feedback and run it through the focus groups so that the plan really has its basis in what the community wants, and it really is a community initiated and community oriented plan.
I love that. So it's really taking what our residents want to see happen to Mount Lebanon and then bringing it to fruition, hopefully.
Yes.
That's awesome.
And there are, I'll say, a wide variety of ideas. So we appreciate all of them and are very thankful for all the engagement we've got so far. Obviously, we have 34,000 residents, so not everybody is going to get what they want out of the plan, but all the more ideas we can get, the better, just because it is helpful for us. And one of the really cool things I'll say about the mapping feature, if you go on there, you can click on a comment that somebody else has put in there, see what they said, and then there's a join the discussion feature so people can respond back, and there's like and dislike buttons so you can kind of get a sense for what do other people in the community want to see, and then you can piggyback off of their ideas as well, which may spur some ideas of your own for your own neighborhood.
So do residents have until the end of 2023 to comment?
So we'll be running the public engagement definitely through the end of the year. As I said, there may be some additional surveys as we start to get more information from people, and as we synthesize and analyze it, we may have follow-up questions. That's what happened with the Parks Master Plan, was we did an initial survey, and then based on the responses to that survey, we had additional questions and additional information we wanted to drill down on a few topics. So we launched a second survey to kind of follow up on the first one. So I imagine there will be multiple opportunities. So all I can say is to bookmark the ascendlebo.com website and check it every now and then, because there may be additional new information to check out. And you can also follow our Mount Lebanon social media accounts, which we mentioned in the show, and you can find them all on our website as well.
Absolutely. So many ways for residents to get connected and stay connected, for sure. Now, you're the expert on the comprehensive plan. Is there anything else you want our residents to know about it?
I would say that the more engagement we have, the better. So the more people are able to participate in the planning process, take the surveys, put pins on the map, join in the discussion. If we, when we get to the point of next summer having considerations and recommendations to come out and be a part of those events and those surveys and all that, just to stay engaged with the process so that you're informed. And then it really is a community plan that we have that is then it really is a community plan that we have that has widespread knowledge and buy-in from the community, because if there's a certain segment of the population that may not like something that's recommended in the plan, it's more important for them to come out and engage with the plan and to tell us that they don't like it than to just kind of grumble about it on social media, because then their voices aren't being heard.
Right.
We need their voices to be heard in the process so that we hear that feedback and get that good cross-section of the community. And we got that with the first survey. You could definitely tell there was people from a variety of backgrounds, a variety of political opinions that took the first survey and gave us their feedback, which was great to get, because then it gave us a really balanced response and a really good sampling of the municipality as a whole.
So get out there, comment, share your opinions, dream big, and share your ideas with us.
And share the website link with your friends, family, and really anyone. This is open not just to Mount Lebanon residents, but anyone who's a property owner, business owner, visitor. So even if it's somebody who, share it with your relatives if they come to town once a year for a holiday celebration or something like that. Share it with everyone, because the more feedback we get, the better, because people interact with the community in different ways. Someone who visits once or twice a year may have a different opinion of what they would like to see out of the community versus somebody who lives here all the time. So we want to get all that different type of feedback.
Thank you so much for tuning in to our very first episode of Inside Lebo. This episode was produced by Carrie Monyo with theme music by her husband, Drew Monyo.
And also special thanks to Chris Leeper in the Mount Lebanon Public Information Office for designing the really cool logo that we have for the show.
Absolutely, you have to check it out. Join us in 2 weeks for another episode of Inside Lebo.
Thanks for listening to Inside Lebo, produced by Mount Lebanon's Public Information Office. Learn more about all things Lebo at mountlebanon.org or by following our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages.